Good morning, India. Good morning, humanity. Let me speak human. Let me support Mr. Arvind Kejriwal for his demand to control Delhi police. This nonsense must stop. Police should not be accountable to the state government. Why then we boast of federal system of the democrat republic? What is the logic of making separate state controlled by center which might not ensure the rule of law and order and safety of women? Yes, it is 10:26 a.m. in Kolkata. The temperature is coming down, but humidity continues. Since Mahalaya, the festival is in full bloom. All big pandals in Kolkata, including the biggest Durga, have opened, and celebrities from Mumbai are being imported. Governor, Chief Minister, and entire political system is engaged in this festival. I do not celebrate any festival because for me, Indian people root in peasantry, and every festival is rooted in peasantry, and it is linked to harvesting. Our peasants are dying. The peasantry has to commit suicide, and harvesting is no more the character of our economic system, our society. Thus, all those festivals have lost the rainbow color for me. I may remember my childhood, my teenage life, and those days of my student life in DSB College, Nainital, GIC, Nainital. We enjoyed summer vacations, we enjoyed winter vacations, and in those days of vacation, I would either roam around the hills, either around the Himalayas, or I would base at Basantipur, and whenever there is a festival, my village Basantipur is known for Jatra. We have the best artist of Jatra in my village. Mr. Kartik Sana, he is still living, and other known artists, Avani Kaka and Haju Sana and Podo Gain, and all of them, they are no more. That generation is not there. I would get important role because I could recite, I could speak the dialogue. Though I have not the hero-like personality, but I would get the lead role because the Jatra podium is in the middle, and thousands of people would sit around, and they should, because we did not use the loudspeaker, you have to speak dialogue in a way that every person in the audience should hear. I would remember this yet another thing. Perhaps I would not be able to address you until the festival is over. I live in Sodhpur, and my mohalla is a Garib mohalla. It is inhabited by the workers who lost their job in the Kajkal and who has to be evicted for a high-rise building. But they are celebrating the puja, and for them it would begin tomorrow. And from tomorrow, the pandal is just opposite my window, and I am using webcam only. I would not be able to address you because of the overwhelming sound of loudspeaker which has already captured Kolkata and rest of Bengal. I am confused. I had been reading from primary to my post-graduation that man is a social animal. And what is the social realism? Man has ceased to remain social. But rather, we should say man is a political animal. We have every characteristics of animal, and we behave like animal, and we are armed with muscle power, we are armed with money power, we are mafia, we are builder, we are promoter, and so on. And it is our identity. The religious, caste, racial identities remain irrelevant. Though we fight with each other, we bleed with those false identities. I don't understand why everything should end in politics, in political equation. If there is Hindu, if there is Islamic jihad, if there is Hindutva agenda, I don't understand the secular agenda which is more concerned with political correction. It is not apolitical. I believe the people engaged in media, in social organizations, institutions, in the field of education and academia, in the field of art, culture, literature and music, they must be apolitical. Rather, they should engage themselves in apolitical activism. This is my point of view. It might be wrong. And now just see, West Bengal government released cabinet papers on Netaji between 1938 and 1947. I have discussed and published some of those papers. Now, It is in Economic Times wrote, rewrite Indian history to acknowledge Netaji's contribution. A niche of Subhash Chandra Bose paints picture of moments with the PM that led up to him announcing the first set of Netaji files would be made public on his birth anniversary. Modi has not taken the initiative because Modi is working in accordance with his political equations. Because Miss Mamata Banerjee in Bengal took the initiative to publish Netaji papers, and she shared the political equation to favor her politics. Modi is setting the equation politically correct to hold on the power in the center. This is it. And I had been writing against the legislation meant to hang every rapist. I had been speaking that legislation would not help the women because it is patriarchal society, and in every religion the woman is enslaved, and free market economy has reduced the woman into a saleable commodity. And because we have ceased to be a social animal or the human being, the brutality with blatant racial apartheid has become our ethical and moral character, so that the woman should be raped at home, at working place, and at public places, and it is happening. The Bengali Daily Anand Bazar Patrika published the lead, ফিরে এলো নির্ভয়ার স্মৃতি, এক রাতে দিল্লিতে 2 শিশুকে গণধর্ষণ। রাজধানী এখন নিরাপদ নয়, রাজধানীতে এখন নিরাপদ নয় 2.5 বছরের শিশু কন্যা। The little girl child is not safe in the national capital. It is our growth rate. It is the pagal door against which Gandhi warned. It is the development against which Einstein spoke, and Tolstoy warned that the discoveries of science have not advanced humanity for 200 years. We still remain in the age of darkness. It is that এক রাতে রাজধানীর বুকে গণধর্ষণের শিকার হলো 2 জন। একজনের বয়স 2.5, অন্যজনের বয়স 5। গত রাতে চরম অত্যাচার সহ্য করে দুজনেই এখন হসপিটালে ভর্তি। ছোট্ট দুটি শরীরের উপর যেভাবে নির্যাতন চালানো হয়েছে দেখে শিউরে উঠেছেন চিকিৎসকেরাই। মুখ্যমন্ত্রী অরবিন্দ কেজরিওয়াল দাবি তুলেছেন অন্তত 1 বছরের জন্য দিল্লি পুলিশের দায়িত্ব তার সরকারের হাতে তুলে দেওয়া হোক। তারা দিল্লির আইন শৃঙ্খলার হাল ফেরাতে না পারলে পুলিশের দায়িত্ব আবার স্বরাষ্ট্র মন্ত্রককেই ফিরিয়ে দিক নরেন্দ্র মোদী সরকার। It is the chief minister of Delhi is helpless. It is miserable. While our national leaders, those elected in the Constituent Assembly, led by the interim Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, were discussing the framework of Indian Constitution, discussing the future of independent nation India. They did not opt for a almighty center. Rather, they opted for federal system where the states should be autonomous. It is the Constitution, but in practice the center has become omnipresent and the Prime Minister has been projected as almighty. The executive of the central government has the final say and he can use every right, he can kill every right because he has got the mandate, and parliamentary consensus would kill the rights, civic rights, human rights and the green. The democracy is reduced like that. And the result, जनसत्ता रिपोर्टेड केशवपुरम इलाके में 4 साल की बच्ची के साथ सामूहिक बलात्कार के मामले का अभी खुलासा भी नहीं हुआ कि शुक्रवार को दिल्ली में 2 मासूम फिर हैवानियत का शिकार हो गई। नांगलोई में रामलीला देखने गई 2.5 साल की एक बच्ची को अगवा कर सामूहिक बलात्कार कर पार्क में फेंक दिया गया, तो आनंद विहार में 3 दरिंदों ने घर में अकेली बच्ची को अपनी हवस का शिकार बना डाला। गंभीर रूप से घायल दोनों ही बच्चियों का इलाज चल रहा है अस्पताल में। नाउ लुक द पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा। अस्पताल में बच्ची को देखने के लिए शनिवार को नेताओं की भीड़ लगी रही। पुलिस ने पोक्सो सहित अन्य धाराओं के तहत मामला दर्ज कर आनंद विहार मामले में 3 आरोपियों को गिरफ्तार कर लिया। तीनों को अतिरिक्त सत्र न्यायाधीश पुलास्त प्रमचला ने 31 अक्टूबर तक न्यायिक हिरासत में भेज दिया। पुलिस ने अदालत से कहा कि प्रकाश, सीताराम और रेवती कथित तौर पर नशीले पदार्थ के प्रभाव में थे और उन्होंने शुक्रवार शाम आनंद विहार में नाबालिग लड़की से सामूहिक बलात्कार किया। वहीं नांगलोई के आरोपियों की तलाश के लिए धरपकड़ शुरू कर दी गई है। दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री ने केंद्र सरकार को निशाने पर लेते हुए दिल्ली पुलिस की कड़ी आलोचना की है। दिल्ली महिला आयोग की अध्यक्ष ने भी घटना की निंदा करते हुए इसे शर्मनाक बताया। In Noida, it is another atrocity, another headline. नोएडा छेड़खानी से तंग किशोरी ने खुदकुशी की। स्थानीय युवकों से परेशान किए जाने के बाद नोएडा में 17 साल की एक किशोरी ने कथित तौर पर आत्महत्या कर ली। पुलिस के मुताबिक 12वीं कक्षा की छात्रा ने शुक्रवार को अपने घर में दुपट्टे से फांसी लगा ली। We read the repetition of these incidents in every part of India, specifically in every Dalit villages, specifically even in those OBC villages who are not sharing the power. Even the caste Hindus and minorities are not spared. In our metros, in our cities, in our urbanized cemented jungles that we reduced our agrarian economy to. This incident, this unprecedented violence against women is the routine of we, the political animals, because we have ceased to be a social animal, human being. We are consumer only. We don't celebrate life. There is no celebration of life. We don't allow thousands and thousands flowers have to bloom. We are trying to pluck every rose in the garden, every other flower is booted, tortured, every flower is bleeding in India, and we are talking, we are clashing with our identities, we are engaged in caste war, we are engaged in the agenda of Hindutva, we are the jihadis. What is religion? Religion is all about love. Religion is all about faith. It is the affair of the soul. दिलों का कारोबार है मोहब्बत, तो हर मजहब में मोहब्बत ही बाबुलंद है रब की आवाज. हम उस रब के गुस्से से अब नहीं डरते, क्योंकि हम रोबोट हैं, हम पीसी में तब्दील है, हमारे हाथ में 3G 4G मोबाइल है, and we are the people equipped with plastic money, and the government expenditure is all about the extension of market, and governance, the business friendly governance is reduced to strategic marketing for thousands and thousands foreign companies, and free flow of foreign capital and foreign interest do consist our polity, our political system, our cultural behavior, our art, culture, media, creativity, medium, genre, ideologies. Everything has reduced in strategic marketing. The folk, the dialects, the languages have been captured, and hence we have to face this unprecedented violence. And because it is also the Manusmriti hegemony, it is the caste class hegemony rule of Manusmriti, and in accordance to Manusmriti, every woman is Shudra, irrespective of his caste, creed, race, religion, whatsoever. The woman is subjected to violence since the days of Homer, when Iliad and Odyssey had been written. When Ramayana and Mahabharata had been written, Sita had to pass the fire test, Agni Pariksha. Sita had to go to exile deep in the forest to ensure Ram Raj, the Manusmriti Anusasan, the discipline of Manusmriti. Draupadi had to live with 5 husbands. It was not enough. She had to be captured by yet another 100 brothers from Kuruj, and the Kurukshetra was fought on the body of a woman, and that is Draupadi. Every woman in Mahabharata, Satyavati and Kunti, Gandhari, Madri, Amba, Ambalika, everyone is subjected to patriarchal society. And we sustain the patriarchal society. We stand rock solid in defense of patriarchal society. Still the woman is Shudra, despite their empowerment, despite their dominant role in every sphere of life. They are corporate heads. Miss Chandra Kochar is the president of ICICI Bank. Mrs. Mukherjee is the president of State Bank of India. We had a woman president, Mrs. Pratibha Patil. We have so many chief ministers. We had so many chief ministers. Mamata Banerjee, Vasundhara Raje and Jayalalitha are popular chief ministers. Mayavati had been and is the Bahanji, the Dalit face, who became chief minister for 4 times in Uttar Pradesh. Delhi was ruled by Mrs. Sushma Swaraj and Mrs. Sheila Kaul. And Uma Bharti, the face of Hindutva, had been the chief minister of Madhya Pradesh. Nandini Satpathy was the chief minister of Odisha. Irrespective of this political empowerment, because 1/3 seats are reserved for women in local bodies, and their husbands are doing their job. They have no say whatsoever, despite the exceptions, and their husbands decide for their wives. It is the democracy. It is the empowerment of Indian women. They still remain the Shudra. They still remain the Dasi. Dasi means enslaved. It means sex slaves. We treat the woman as sex slave. This is the root cause of violence against women. Our psyche is patriarchal and we are devoid of ethics, we are devoid of morality. That morality and that ethics root in the religion, and the religion has reduced to political equation. It is very, very unfortunate. Muslim rulers ruled India for 700 years. The Pathans, the Mughals, they ruled India for 700 years. They introduced the jizya kar against the Hindu praja, but the Brahmins were not taxed because the Brahmins claimed that they were not Hindu. They have got the foreign root. They are the foreigners as the rulers are, and they enjoyed the tax holiday, and they were the part of the governance. They got the riyasat, subedari, they were the sipah salar, and they got the jamidaris during the British Raj. They had always been the part of the rulers, the ruling hegemony. Whatsoever is the character of the ruler, it was insignificant. Last day I asked if Jodha and Akbar could unite India beyond religious and caste identities for the Mughaliya Sultanate. What stops us to unite India for democracy, inherent secularism, inherent pluralism, inherent diversity? It is only 1.5 years of the RSS governance in India, in the center, and we are armed with the Hindutva agenda. We have launched the global campaign to make India Hindu, and India should not have any non-Hindu demography, no Muslim demography, no Christian demography, no Sikh demography, no Buddhist demography. Sikhs had been subjected to genocide and ethnic cleansing in 1984. The ethnic cleansing launched with Operation Blue Star. It is the Sikhs are not to be spared. The Buddhists are not to be spared. The Christians and Jainis have not to be spared if we want to make it a Hindu India. And the universal brotherhood, the universal peace, the universal green, the nature and humanity worldwide would not be spared because we have a agenda of global Hindutva, the Hindu globe. Had the rulers opted for the Islamic agenda to make India Islam, there would not have been Hindus anywhere on this universe, because they would have opted for ethnic cleansing, the genocide culture, as the Hindutva hegemony has opted for. Every Hindu would have been killed. The Hindutva, the religion of Hindutva would have been killed. Akbar was the man, the child at the age of 13. who was incarnated as the Alamgir, he opted for religious tolerance, and he is recognized likewise. And he included Rajputs who were fighting against him in his administration. Raja Man Singh was his chieftain in the army, and Jodhabai was ruling India, the Hindu woman who was not converted from the Mughaliya haram. It happened in India, and Muslims and Hindus celebrated life all along those 700 years of Muslim rule. But we have not waited to pass just 1 year. Our sadhu sons, holy men, Peer, Baul, Sant, everyone did sing the songs of love. Kabir Das stood in the open market and spoke for social reforms. Mirabai revolted in a palace. Rahim praised the Krishna, the Hindu god, in his Doha. We had Ghalib, who wrote the Rubaiya. We had Guru Nanak, who made Guru Granth Sahib above God. The Sikhs had no God. Guru Granth Sahib is supreme. It is a unique religion. It is a discipline to celebrate life, and that is religion all about. We had seen Brahma Samaj during British Raj, which had been the alchemy of the principles taken from Islam, taken from Christianity, taken from Parsi religion, taken from Buddhism, Jainism, and so on. It is something like the religion that Badshah Akbar intended to launch, and it materialized in 19th century by the leaders of Renaissance who wanted to reform the society so that Hindutva should sustain. Hindutva is all about the merger of so many streams of humanities, as Rabindranath Tagore sang, "Ei Mahamanover Sagor Tire." Every race, every foreign element is merged. Aryan, Dravid, non-Aryan, Shak, Hun, Kusan, and so many races merged in India. Ahamias from Myanmar, they merged in India, and Ahams are ruling Assam. It is India all about, with inherent tolerance, inherent pluralism, and inherent diversity, despite the Manusmriti rule. It is sustained for thousands and thousands of years, despite the demise of Buddhism. the Bodhamaya India, India opted for the Panchashil of Gautam Buddha. Indian diplomacy was originally based on Panchashil. Indo-Chinese relationship was based on Panchashil, and that was killed in 1962 with a politicalized border clash, and blind nationalism envelops the country, and that blind nationalism is the business governance of fascism. It is it. Now, I would read the news if I get it. Capital shame to minors brutalized, it reads in Economic Times. Now, I have to hurry because I have to upload this on YouTube. I would just read the write-up, you may say a press statement in support of Arvind Kejriwal. Let me read it. Let me speak human. Let me support Kejriwal for his demand to control Delhi police. This nonsense must stop. Police should not be accountable to a state government. Why then we boast of federal democracy? What is the logic of making separate state controlled by center which might not ensure the safety of women? Arvind Kejriwal says Delhi cops remark on rape shameful, insensitive. NDTV reports senior Delhi police officer Deepak Misra's reported comments on rape in the wake of sexual assault of against two girl children in the capital. Mind you, the state Delhi is the national capital zone, where citizens including women have to enjoy privileges more than the masses in rest of India. Ironically, nowhere else the women, even those most empowered, often raped and killed. Students from Northeast lynched, workers attacked, and the Chief Minister feels helpless because the police is not accountable to state government and the center uses the police as it likes. This nonsense must stop. Media screams with headline, capital shame, 5-year-old and 2-year-old raped. What next? New Delhi monasteries. They are not monasteries. This is the psyche of the Manusmriti rule. This is the psyche of the citizen deprived of sovereignty, deprived of freedom, deprived of civic and human rights, and armed with purchasing power, and the psyche of patriarchal society, which is the actual rapist. Even after the controversial legislation after Nirbhaya rape and murder, that the rapist should be hanged, nothing has changed hitherto. Indian woman is treated as sex slaves. Indian woman is treated as sex slave, irrespective of her caste, religion or race or status, without rooting out the patriarchal society armed with gender bias. Rapes would not never stop, and Indian society itself happens to be uprooted and gets the roots in the free market economy, wherein woman is further reduced to the status of commodity on sale. We are degenerated, decultured people, devoid of ethics and morality, tradition whatsoever. Religion does not relate to faith or morality or ethics. It is reduced to politics only. It is reduced to power politics equations, accounted for violence unprecedented and Holocaust unabated. Thus, woman is quite unsafe at home, at working place, unsafe at public places, anytime, anywhere, around the clock. As relations mean nothing these days. For example, mother and son, brother and sister, and father and daughter, the sacredness, the purity, and the holiness of these relations have been violated brutally because man has ceased to be social animal. He is a political economical animal. He is a financial animal. He is a money making animal. The definition of humanity and civilization is said to be development and empowerment. Well, Indian Express's report, repeated rape of minors is shameful act or give control of Delhi police, Arvind Kejriwal tells Prime Minister Modi. Repeated rape of minors is shameful and worrying, said Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. I have nothing to do with Kejriwal or its politics, but I support Kejri while he asks that the police should be accountable to a state government. Mind you, he heads the government as he is elected chief minister with a landslide mandate. The mandate enjoyed by Narendra Modi is also shared by Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Why do you deprive Arvind Kejriwal of that landslide mandate? Yes, I have supported Kejri in his drive for corruption. Yes, I have criticized Arvind Kejriwal because we do not see him to stand for citizenship, for civic rights, human rights and green. And he is not opposing biometric robotic identity, citizenship. He is not opposing surveillance, and he is not opposing the economic, ethnic cleansing, the genocide culture. For that I criticize Arvind Kejriwal. I criticize the anti-reservation, anti-quota movement launched by Arvind Kejriwal and the Communal versus Mandal war, in which Kejriwal had its role with his Youth for Equality. But I am not political, I am apolitical, and it is mandatory that I have to support Mr. Arvind Kejriwal when he is speaking logic. It is his right as elected chief minister that he should execute the landslide mandate. If Narendra Modi is allowed as the executive of the central government, why should not be Arvind Kejriwal allowed to behave as the executive of the state government? Let me quote from Dr. Ambedkar's maiden speech in the Constitutional Assembly, which was debating the future of India while finalizing the framework of Constitution. The resolution was moved by the interim Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and the House was presided by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And it was debated with every option open, and India rejected, our national leaders rejected the centralization of Indian polity, democracy and democratic institutions, and it opted for autonomy, it opted for federal system. I am presenting again one part of the debate, the speech, the maiden speech of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Constituent Assembly. Thus, Baba Sahib spoke on the union of states and the center. I should like to invite your attention to paragraph 3 of the resolution. The resolution moved by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on the framework of Indian Constitution, and Mr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee objected that this resolution should be in accordance to the cabinet proposals, and we are not aware what is all about the cabinet proposals, because the cabinet proposals were finalized with conspiracies and bargaining, and Gandhi had been sidelined. Gandhi had been killed before 15 August 1947. Right in 1946, Gandhi was in Noakhali. Gandhi defeated, was resting in Paniyati Gandhi Ashram while the transfer of power took place, while the partition of India happened, and Gandhi was killed because he had to be made the scapegoat. He had to be made responsible for the partition which he opposed. Now, I am reading because it is a reference, and the Muslim League was out of the Constituent Assembly. The Prime Minister of Bihar demanded the inclusion of Muslim League, and Ambedkar said, we are divided, divided people, we are warring camps, we have to opt for negotiation, we have to opt for reconciliation to make India's future, and it is the part of that speech, and Baba Sahib spoke on union of states and center. I should like to invite your attention to paragraph 3 of the resolution, which I think 13/10 is very significant and very important. Paragraph 3 envisages the future constitution of India. I do not know what is the intention of the mover of the resolution, but I take it that after this resolution is passed, it will act as a sort of a directive to the Constituent Assembly to frame a constitution in terms of para 3 of the resolution. What does paragraph 3 say? Paragraph 3 says that in this country there shall be two different sets of polity. One at the bottom, autonomous provinces, or the states or such other areas as care to join a united India. These autonomous units will have full power. Where is the full power? Where is the autonomy? They will have also residuary powers at the top over the provincial units. There will be a union government having certain subjects of for legislation, for execution and for administration. As I read this part of the resolution, I do not find any reference to the idea of grouping an intermediate structure between the union or the one hand and the provinces on the other. Reading this para in the light of the cabinet mission's statement, or reading it even in the light of resolution passed by the Congress at its Wardha session, I must confess that I am a great deal surprised. I must confess that I am a great deal surprised at the absence of any reference to the idea of grouping the provinces. So far as I am personally concerned, I do not like the idea of grouping. Audience cried, "Here, here." I like a strong, united center. I like a strong, united center. It was the perspective of Dr. Ambedkar, and it was welcomed by a loud scream, "Here, here." Ambedkar was in favor of much stronger than the center we had created under the Government of India Act of 1935. And Ambedkar said, "But sir, these questions, these wishes have no bearing on the situation at all. The situation had a turn around. India had to be divided, India had to be partitioned, and the people were divided, they were partitioned, and our national leaders had an agenda to unite India. We have," Baba Saheb said, "we have travelled a long road. The Congress party, for reasons best known to itself, consented, if I may use the expression, to the dismantling of a strong center which had been created in this country, was a result of 15 years of administration, and which I must say was to me a matter of great admiration and respect and refuge. But having given up that position, Ambedkar gave up the position of the strong center, and he reconciliated with the federal setup of government, the autonomy, the full power to the states. It is it. And Baba Saheb said, but having given up the position, having said that we do not want a strong center, and having accepted that there must be or should be an intermediate polity, a self-federation between the union government and provinces, I would like to know why there is no reference in para 3 to the idea of grouping. I quite understand that the Congress party, the Muslim League, and His Majesty's government are not at idem on the interpretation of the clause relating to the grouping. It is a hidden agenda. I had been saying it was a hidden agenda. Cabinet proposals were the set of conspiracies, the set of bargain, and the set of the Hindutva agenda of the grand Hindutva alliance which stepped in before the partition, before the transfer of population, before this holocaust, before this bloodshed which we witness even today. The next generation will have to witness this bloodshed, this rivers of blood, this oceans of blood, the Himalayas bleeding, the humanity attacked and attacked again, the women tortured, enslaved as sex slaves, the patriarchal system, the Manusmriti relations, and nothing would change because we are political animals. We no more happen to be social animal. This is the greatest irony. This is the greatest farce. This is the greatest tragedy as far as our democracy and we, the people of India, are concerned. Baba Saheb said, Baba Sahib said, I quite understand that the Congress party, the Muslim League and His Majesty's government are not at idem on the interpretation of the clause relating to grouping. But I always thought that I am prepared to stand corrected if it is shown that I am wrong. Baba Sahib said, I am prepared to stand corrected if it is shown that I am wrong. At least it was agreed by the Congress party that if the provinces which are placed with different groups consent to form a union or sub-federation, the Congress would have no objection to that proposal. I believe I am correct to interpreting the mind of the 13/11 Congress party. This question I ask is this: why did not the mover of the resolution make reference to the idea of a union of provinces or grouping of provinces on the terms on which he and his party were prepared to accept it? Why is the idea of union completely effaced from the resolution? I find no answer, none whatsoever. It is the basic problem of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who is the elected chief minister with a landslide majority. Yes, I have incorporated Baba Sahib's speech about the resolution moved by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and I would be incorporating it in the text because I have to upload this video for the public on YouTube. Thank you India, thank you humanity. Let me speak human. Long live humanity, long live civilization, long live the nature. Down, down, down fascism.